my name is Jeana. I'm from Milwaukee, and I'm just sharing a bit of what I've experienced. I used to work at a shelter for kids in Minneapolis. It was a building right on the corner of a residential street, so it blended into all of the other houses around it. If you're a person just walking around, you wouldn't even notice that it was a business. You would just think it was another house. But we worked really closely with CPS, social workers, and police officers, so the police definitely already knew that it was a place of business and not just a house. About a block away there is this corner store, and the staff and I, we would go there and get snacks or whatever to come back to the shelter and take our break, sort of like in an alley by the garage. So I'm just going to look at my notes because I have everything written down. One night my coworker and I were sitting out there. I was just wearing jeans, a hoodie, tennis shoes. It was my usual thing that I wore to work because it was a very active job working with kids. It was already dark, but we were sort of illuminated by the street lamps. We were sitting there in our break. I had already gone to the corner store and bought chips and soda. We were talking, and then we were startled by a police car, and it swerved really fast into the alley, and it stomped on its brakes right in front of us, and it just like shattered the street lamp light because they put their spotlight right on us, and it was really bright. I couldn't see very well, but I did see that two officers came out of the vehicle, and one of the officers came right up to me and he asked, "What do you have in the bag?" And I was carrying a purse on my shoulder, and I said, "I have chips and soda." He just grabbed my purse off my shoulder, and he walked a little bit away from me, and he just jammed his hand right in my bag and took out the soda, dumped it, and took out the chips and crunched it and then dropped it on the ground. And then he just continued to go through my purse one thing at a time. I remember being really relieved that there wasn't anything sharp in there or anything he could have cut himself on, because I figured if he did hurt himself, he would have blamed me. The other officer was interrogating my friend at the same time that he was doing that. And eventually they had us both come to the front of the police car, and we had to put our hands on the hood, and they were patting us down to search. I don't know what they were searching for, but they were patting us down for searching. And then the police officer still had my purse, and he had emptied the whole thing, but he had my wallet, and I told him my work ID is in the wallet. I work right here. It says it on my ID. And he took my ID and the driver's license, and the other police officer took the ID from my friend, and they went back in the car. And so we were still sitting there with our hands on the hood, and the spotlight was still on, so I couldn't really see what was going on in the car. They came out after like 5 minutes and said that we fit the description. The description they had was a black man and woman. I think they thought I was black, but they said a black man and woman, and a pimp and a prostitute, and that was really the only thing, the only descriptor that they had. We were allowed to stand up. The officer took my purse and he shoved it pretty hard into my chest and said, "That wasn't so bad, was it?" And he didn't say it like it was a question. He said it like a statement. He said it, and his face was like right here when he said it. After it was over, my friend and I posted about it on Facebook. We were talking about it with coworkers, and I was right along with everybody. I hate the police, and the system is whack, and all this stuff against racism and everything. And about a half an hour later, my body just started shaking. The adrenaline wore off, and I was just like, I realized what my real feelings were, and my feelings were fear. I was afraid that at any time and without any provocation, I and people I love can get stopped, humiliated, and hurt, and the people who do it really don't have a consequence. And when that man was in my face, I saw a lot of hate. His eyes were directly in front of my eyes, and the expression he had was just disgust and hate. And he just, without knowing me, he just felt that way about me. I felt stripped away. I felt stripped of any accomplishment I had ever made. It didn't matter. I have gifts with children. I like to sing. I'm loyal to those I love. I have honesty, humor, and kindness, and none of it mattered. None of it mattered to him because I'm brown, and that seemed to outweigh everything else. I felt hopeless of ever being able to change a society that thinks like he did.